Donald Trump's golf empire looks like pure luxury, $150,000 memberships and champagne openings. But between 2006 and 2015, he dumped over $400 million into golf properties during a global financial meltdown. Sources of his finances, well, let's find out. When you think of President Trump's empire, golf probably isn't the first thing that pops into your head, but it should be, because behind the reality TV and campaign rallies, there's a network of golf courses that doesn't make sense. Now, this whole saga started off in 1999, when golf was starting to fade as a shiny business. While most developers were pulling out, Trump kept buying golf courses in West Palm Beach, Florida, and slapping Trump International Golf Club on it. I know buying one golf course doesn't make you a mogul, but it does start a pattern. By 2006, Trump was going on about how he was reinventing the game of golf, which is hilarious when you remember this is the same man who once tried to sell steaks out of Sharper Image. But despite that ego and that timing, the strategy actually worked. He wanted luxury, private, gated, brag about it at the country club kind of courses, and it snowballed. A few years in, he had picked up properties in Bedminster, LA, New Jersey, Scotland, with memberships around $100,000. His name was now on fairways as well, along with the buildings. People watched his success, but lost his crash. You don't believe that? Let me explain. When the financial crash came in 2008, you'd think a luxury golf business would tank, right? I mean, real estate moguls were vanishing in thin air, banks were collapsing, and suddenly no one had the appetite for luxury anything, let alone golf. But Trump only doubled down. He signed 4 more golf clubs under his name during this crisis. In a collapsing market, Trump was playing Monopoly with real turf. In 2009, he got the Lowe's Island Club in Potomac Falls, Virginia. He rebranded it as Trump National Golf Club, Washington, D.C. The purchase was strategic, as the course was located just outside the nation's capital and overlooked the Potomac River. Trump promised major renovations and used the property to court politicians, media figures, and power brokers, all while turning the struggling club into a branding tool. That same year, Trump bought another property in New York, the Branton Woods Golf Club, nestled in the Hudson Valley. It was renamed Trump National Golf Club, Hudson Valley. The move was part of his effort to dominate the luxury golf market in the Northeast, especially targeting golfers in affluent suburbs who still had disposable income, even during a recession. Also in 2009, Trump acquired the Pine Hill Golf Club in New Jersey, which sat on a former ski mountain and offered sweeping views of the Philadelphia skyline. He transformed it into Trump National Golf Club, Philadelphia. This course was particularly prized for its elevation and exclusive setting, and Trump capitalized on its geography to elevate his brand, literally and figuratively. While he was buying up courses in the U.S., Trump also made a bold move overseas. In 2008, during the peak of economic anxiety, he received approval to build an entirely new luxury course on the northeast coast of Scotland. The project, known as Trump International Golf Links, was one of his most ambitious and controversial, requiring the destruction of protected sand dunes and sparking public backlash. Still, construction pushed forward through the recession, and the course officially opened in 2012. He called it opportunistic. Everyone else called it insane, and yet he kept going. Which brings us to the real question: how? Because this is where it stops making sense. The man was buying luxury properties hand over fist in cash during a recession. Normal financing was drying up. Big banks weren't lending like before, and Trump's own history with bankruptcies made him radioactive to traditional lenders. So where was the money coming from? How was this golf binge even possible? Turns out there was a quiet little financial trick hiding in plain sight: refundable membership deposits. Yeah, that's the real engine behind this empire. Members were required to fork over 6-figure deposits just to join, the kind you can't casually Venmo someone. The catch was that it was refundable, technically, but with a twist that makes refunding almost theoretical. Trump had structured the deal so that the money was treated more like an interest-free loan. The members couldn't just pull out and get it back. They had to wait for someone new to take their spot. So if there was a line out the door, no problem. But if the market slowed down, that money was trapped. Trump could use those funds for whatever he wanted, including buying more golf courses, while the members sat there holding an IOU they might never cash. It's clever, sketchy, but clever. And that's the thing, this wasn't a side hustle. This was the business model. While other developers were busy securing financing or begging banks, Trump figured out how to use his own customers as the bank. Except they didn't know it, at least not fully. The refunds weren't guaranteed in practice, even if they were promised on paper. And by the time people started noticing the lag in repayments, Trump had already expanded across continents. If member deposits were the lifeblood of Trump's golf expansion, then this is where you get the idea of the actual funds. The man didn't stop at taking $150,000 initiation fees from new members at clubs like Mar-a-Lago. No, that was just the appetizer. He started stacking other windfalls and asset plays like poker chips at a Vegas table. For example, in 2012, Trump pocketed a neat $150 million from the sale of his stake in the Miss Universe pageant and licensing deals like The Apprentice. That cash didn't sit around, but it went back into the machine, patching holes where club revenues or deposits came up short. And when he needed liquidity but didn't want to sell, he did what any self-proclaimed genius would do. He borrowed. Take Trump National Doral in Florida, a 2012 purchase for $150 million. Need renovations? Another $250 million poured in. That kind of investment needs serious returns. But instead of stable profit, Doral saw revenue drop from $116 million in 2015 to just $75 million by 2019. So where did the money come from to keep things afloat? Well, he took loans, of course. He had lots of them, often personally guaranteed, which basically means if things went south, Trump himself, not just the business, would be liable. But then the empire starts to teeter, because this wasn't some carefully hedged portfolio. This was maximum leverage, fueled by ego and optics. At one point, he owed Deutsche Bank $340 million, with a huge chunk tied directly to his golf courses. That's not smart debt. That's hope no one looks too closely debt. And with over $315 million in loans coming due after 2022, the man was sprinting on a financial treadmill and pretending it was a victory lap. Even Trump Turnberry in Scotland, which he bought for $60 million in 2014 and then spent an estimated $200 million renovating, didn't turn a profit. And yet the spending continued. The man knows the game is not about sustainability, but about staging, appearances. Keep building, keep branding, keep bluffing, but eventually that bluff gets called. And he had to deal with the lawsuits, the politics, and the public eye collide. Once Trump became president in 2016, the lights got brighter and the questions got louder. Suddenly, former members of clubs like Trump National Jupiter in Florida, where joining fees were around $200,000, wanted their deposits back, and obviously they weren't getting them. Trump had changed the membership terms after the purchase, essentially turning refundable deposits into good luck suing me tokens. And many did sue, leading to a $5 million settlement in Jupiter alone. Meanwhile, ethics concerns exploded. Foreign officials were spotted at his clubs. Was he using the presidency to boost golf revenues? Was taxpayer money funding Mar-a-Lago weekends? Were political allies coincidentally becoming paying members? That's never clear. And yet, despite the lawsuits, scandals, and mounting debt, the empire stands today. As of now, Trump owns 11 golf clubs in the US and 5 more internationally, including in Scotland, Ireland, and the UAE. Forbes estimates that his golf properties alone are worth about $740 million, but they're still mostly cash poor. Trump's clubs aren't booming with profitability. They're surviving often on hype, loans, and the occasional donor event that doubles as a campaign stop. Doral and Turnberry are no longer jewels. They're high-maintenance assets in a shrinking market. New developments have slowed, overseas projects have stalled, and domestic growth is practically non-existent. The empire is more of a photo op than a portfolio now. So, from his history, Trump has been very good at creating an illusion of success or some misunderstood visionary gamble. Trump saw a loophole, built elite clubs using member deposits as unsecured, low-interest financing, and exploited them hard. He bet on glamour, on brand value, on constant motion, but the foundations were wobbly. The profits weren't always real, the loans were enormous, and the refund promises were conveniently forgettable. Now, this is the same guy who ran the country. So the real question is, if this is how he ran his golf empire, are we really sure the country was in safe hands? You tell me.